Hello. I think it's been a long time since I made a weekly message. I mean, I made one or two like a month ago after I got out of the hospital, but about being grateful. But I was crying so much I couldn't finish it. But now I'm not crying and I am still grateful. And I was just talking to myself this morning in my meditation. Do you ever do that? I normally write in this journal, which is ours, but someone gave me a gift of a journal. Let's see, it is right side up that says anything is possible. Well, now we know that anything is possible as well as everything is possible. But what came through in my journaling this morning was very interesting. It was about the ego, which I think might have been one of the last messages that you have gotten just from me. So it's like, oh, well, it's a continuation of that. And they said that the ego is like a Xerox machine or a copying machine. And I'm like, what? But do you ever do that in your meditation to say, what are you talking about in there? Um, and but what I got was that your ego, which we love, know, and are learning how to control, is like a copy machine or a Xerox machine. It can only spit out what you have already put into it, which ultimately, in some ways, that's a good thing. You know, as I said last time, it protected you against being eaten by saber-toothed tigers. So we're not being eaten by saber-toothed tigers right now, but it does protect you from things of the past. So remember, the Xerox machine can only spit out what you put into it. It cannot print new information, right? So it's just a copier machine. So that's kind of like the ego. So when you were a kid, it made a copy when you touched the hot stove and it burned your finger. Or you started to touch the hot stove and your parents freaked out and said, don't touch that stove. And you got punished because you were going to touch hot stove when you didn't know what the stove was. So it imprinted or laid down a copy of that imprint, that message, okay? Because that was a message that was put in. So the ego can spit that back out whenever you need it. So the next time you see a stove, you can say, oh, stove is hot, do not touch, which is good most of the time, unless, of course, your controls are on the top of the stove, and then, well, that's another story. But, you know, it also imprinted or spits out other things that happened to you when you were a kid. You know, and I started to think, well, what does it spit out whenever I'm trying to do something? Well, I know for me, and I know for many others, one of the imprints was when I was trying really hard to do something. Was trying really, really hard to do something when I was little, maybe, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 years old. And some voice of authority said, you cannot do that. You are not big enough. You are not strong enough. You are not tall enough. You're not enough. So that's the imprint is you're not enough, no matter what the adjective was or that they put into that sentence. You're not tall enough, strong enough, pretty enough, big enough, blah, 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 right? So you got that imprint. You're not enough, right? So every time you try to do something new now, that imprint of you're not enough comes up, that copy like a Xerox machine. It spits that copy out again. Or maybe when you were in 7th or 8th grade and all your girlfriends got mad at you and dumped you, and you thought, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I'm a bad person. Oh, I'm so bad. And it may not have had anything at all to do with you. I mean, you can go into your Akash and look at the situation and find that out. But more than likely, it didn't have anything to do with you, and you were only looking at the results of what appeared to be the correct circumstances, right? So your ego, being the copy machine that it is going to continue to spit that out. Every time you meet new people, you're going to think, oh, they're going to get mad at me and they're going to leave. I mean, I still have a little bit of it, but I'm working through it, an imprint, a copy that was running in my life that was all of my friends would abandon me, because my girlfriend growing up, I knew her from the time I was 3, we were best friends. She moved away in the 4th grade. Then I got another girlfriend in the 5th grade or the 4th grade or something, and she moved away. Then I got another girlfriend. She moved away. And it's like, okay, so the imprint is all of my friends leave me at some time or another. So far, Joy has stuck around longer than anybody else as a business partner and as a friend. So, but that imprint, sometimes it bubbles up whenever I'm feeling insecure, or I know you probably cannot ever imagine me feeling insecure, but I'm human just like everybody else. And those situations come up so we can deal with them, and we may check and say, okay, so what was our Xerox copy machine, what that imprint is? Oh, your friend's going to move away? Well, that's not true. And start asking yourself, well, is that true? Is that true? Is that real? Is that really the situation that is at hand? Or are you just reading an old copy that was printed out or spit out by your Xerox machine, which is your ego? So, am I making any sense here? I don't always. And that's an imprint. I always make sense. You may just get the opportunity to listen to it a few times to understand exactly what I am talking about. So, the ego, which we know and love because it does keep us from touching that hot stove. Or the ego also has an imprint of going into danger. Danger. And it will start tingling or set off your spidey sense or something like that when you're going into danger. Now, the trick is it may not recognize danger as danger now. I mean, going into a dark alley when you're all alone and you don't know where you are, that may set off your spider sense. That may set off your ego saying, don't go there. Well, when you're going into a new experience, a new frequency, a new energy, a new program, a new conference, a new something that is good for you, your ego may interpret it the same way because some of those same cellular memories may be going off in your brain of not enough or blah, blah, blah. The stories that you've been telling yourself for years. So that may set that off, that ego of, oh, this is dangerous. Don't go there. And it will start creating a scenario copied from a scenario that may have been similar when it did keep you out of danger. Does that make sense? So your ego, and we're learning to control it and understand it because we all have an ego, and some people have actually mastered it much, much better than others. And so my question is, okay, what did they do? What's happening there? Well, I'm not sure when you're going to listen to this, but on the 6/6, I will be speaking at Unity of Fayetteville on how to discipline your ego, but it'll be posted on YouTube somewhere, so Google it. Or if you hear this before the 6/6, then go to it, and if you don't hear it before the 6/6, 2021, then go to Unity of Fayetteville, and they have the copies of it, and email them. And how to discipline your ego. So it's all about learning. It's all about understanding the purpose of the ego. And in the past, that's what the ego has learned from. So when you're stepping into new territory, like you are right now, because everything is new, right? Your ego is going to set off danger by you going into new territory. So it's just a matter of settling that ego down, letting you know that it's still loved, it's still present, and we still honor it and thank you for trying to keep us safe. We are safe, and we're going to have a new experience. So I ask you, little ego, to learn from that experience. So that's another ego part 2 or 3 or whatever it is. Anyway, I am so thankful to be back and so thankful to be talking with you. I love you all so much. Namaste, y'all. Namaste.